Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
Okay,
कृष्ण।
we will take here. Om Jnanarambhasya Gyananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakata Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalan Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Saha Gana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahaganalita Shri Vishaka Anvitamscha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namne Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Paschatya Desha Tarine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gora Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Welcome to our systematic study of Vedic scriptures. Let me know if you all can hear me.
यस प्रभु जी।
Okay, thank you. So today we are going to start 17th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. In fact, chapter 16 is so precious. I missed one story which glorifies further this chapter 16. I'll cover that and then go to the glories of chapter 17. This is from Padma Puran. This is where Lord Shiva is giving this wonderful Mahatmya of Bhagavad Gita to Parvati Devi. So I have this. Yeah, it's in. I mean, it's a nice small book. If someone, I don't know if you can see. Yeah, this one is a kid's story book, but definitely very nice, very crisply put. The glories of the chapters. So I'm going to read one. Lord Shiva said, "Dear Parvati, please hear from me one of the many glories of the 16th chapter." The reason why I'm still covering this is because we have finished the chapter and we understood what is the content of it. But we can also go through to understand what is the value of it. Long, long ago, Maharaj Khadga Bahu ruled over the rich and famous kingdom of Surat. Amongst his elephants was Arimardana, an extremely proud and passionate male who could not be easily approached. One day, seized by pride, frustration, and anger, Arimardana broke free from his chains and ran wild in the city, destroying everything in his path. From here, be attentive. Yeah? The terrified citizen fled in all directions to escape his anger. The elephant keepers immediately informed the king of the bad news. The king quickly ran to the panic filled scene to see what could be done. Things did not look good. At that time, King Kadgabahu's eye fell upon a peaceful Brahmana from a distance. People were warning the Brahmana of the danger ahead, but he was not disturbed in any way. The Brahmana was quietly chanting the first three verses of the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which begins with the word Abhayam, meaning fearlessness. He then calmly walked right up to the fearsome elephant and gently stroked it. Touched by that pure Brahmana, the elephant became completely peaceful and lay down at his feet. The Brahmana kindly patted the elephant and went on his way. Needless to say, the king and the citizens were totally amazed. Regarding what they had just seen, no one could believe their eyes. Before the Brahmana disappeared, the king quickly approached him and, after falling at his feet, begged, "How have you acquired such amazing powers? Please tell me." The Brahmana replied, "Every day I chant some verses from the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita." Dear Brahmana, the king requested, "Please come to the palace and teach me those verses. This will be a great blessing for me." That great minded Brahmana did as he was requested and received from the king the sum of 100 gold coins. The king recited those verses day by day until he became completely fearless. At which point he called for his guard, who took him to where the dangerous elephant was kept. "Release him," he ordered the elephant keepers. The citizens sent up a great cry, expecting chaos and destruction as before. But before that could happen, the king approached the released elephant and gently stroked him. The animal immediately lay down, just as it was, just as it did with the Brahmana, and as before, everyone was astonished. Satisfied by this, the king returned to his palace and instructed the prince on the throne as his successor. Being freed from his responsibilities, King Kadgabahu peacefully retired to the forest to focus his attention on the chapters chanting of the verse from the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. In this way, he perfected his human life by satisfying the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. Any person who sincerely recites the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, regardless of any sinful acts he may have performed in the past, will certainly achieve the same result as Kadgabahu, the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. So, amazing, isn't it? Huh? How many of us want to be fearless?
Yeah, yes, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Everyone,
Maybe I should have a AI participant also. I think as soon as it hears, na, it might respond faster.
everyone want no fear, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Everyone want no fear. The easy way here is that if one is reading few verses every day from chapter 16, or especially I really like, I think we spend at least 3 months or even more discussing only the first three chapters. I hope we have improved with that fearlessness a bit. But if we can make that, yeah, if we can by heart them and remember this first three verses, it's nice. So with that, let's begin chapter 17. The reason why I also read this particular part is in connection. That's fine. So this is again from Padma Puran. Hmm. Lord Shiva continued, "My dear Parvati, you have attentively heard some of the divine glories of the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which features the great devotee King Kadgabahu. Now please hear the glories of 17th chapter, which also speaks of that same king." After that, the story is so. This story is in connection with his past in his life before he gave up his kingdom to the and before he gave up this kingdom to go to the forest. It is told in the following way: King Kadgabahu's son had many servants, one of which was extremely stupid and went by the name Dushasana. Dushasana was so foolish that he bet the prince he could mount and ride the most dangerous of all the royal elephants. The people begged him not to perform such a reckless act for he would surely die. Hmm? So Here we can see, anyway, let me finish this. The people begged him not to perform such reckless act, for he would surely die. Disregarding the good advice of his well-wishers, that foolish man climbed upon the back of the huge beast and urged him forward with strong words. Having no tolerance for this, the proud and powerful elephant twisted and turned and ran wildly in all directions. In a matter of moments, Dushasan was hurled to the ground and promptly stamped to death by that enraged beast. So, so now what happened? The law of karma rules that whatever one's mind is fixed upon at the time of death, that is what one gets without fail. As such, in his next life, Dushasan was born as an elephant and lived in the palace of King uh, Shimhaldvip. Shimhaldvip. So what happened? I mean, just to summarize, what happened here is there is a king Kadgabahu. He had many sons, and he had servant. So his sons had many servant, and one of them was Dushasan, and who was very proud and stupid, and he was so fool that he bet the prince. He bet with the prince that saying, "Okay, I am going to subdue a horse that is sorry, elephant that is very proud." People began saying no, 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 but finally he got on top of it, and the elephant was obviously proud and powerful as well, so it simply killed him. When he died, he next was born as um, uh, law of karma that next was born as an elephant. So here we can see that the person who was trampled under the elephant, then next life he became an elephant. Uh, and not just that, not just that, he was born in a kingdom. Now it happened that this king was close friend of King Kadgabahu. This king Simhal Dweep, the king of Simhal Dweep, is the friend of king of this. What is the place I forgot? It comes in the previous chapter. Surat, yeah, king of Surat, Kadgabahu. So they are friends. And in the kingdom of Simhal Dweep, this elephant was there. And now it happened that this king was close friend, and they often exchanged gifts. On one occasion, the king of Simhal Dweep sent his friend the elephant as a gift. King Kadgabahu in turn gave it to his favorite poet. Sometime later, the poet sold the elephant to the king of Malwa for 100 gold coins. The elephant lived happily for some time, but then became seriously ill and was unable to drink or eat. The elephant keepers tried everything in their power to make the animal well, but failed in their attempts. So, so what happened is that they reported the bad news to the king. The king of Malwa immediately called the very best doctors and went to the stricken elephant. A very wonderful thing then happened. To the utterance amazement of all the people present at the dying elephant, spoke to the king in a grave voice. My dear king, you are the best of men and a follower of law of dharma. You always engage in the worship of the Supreme Lord, Lord Vishnu. Therefore, who can compare with you? As for me, my time is drawing to an end and death is close by. Please understand that it is too late for medicines and doctors. Even giving in charity or the performance of sacrifices will be of no use. If you want to help me, please do one thing. Bring to me someone who daily recites the 17th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Dutifully, the king found a great devotee who regularly chanted the 17th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. While uttering those words, the devotee sprinkled holy water on the elephant's head, and the elephant immediately gave up his body, received a divine four-armed form like the Lord of that of Lord Vishnu. A flower airplane came to take him away, but before he left, the king of Malwa asked him to explain everything. Dushasan told him all about his previous life and how he has received an elephant's body. Then he left for Vaikunta. The king was so inspired by these events, he took up the recitation of 17th chapter of Bhagavad Gita and perfected his life by attaining the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. So, and we here we see where we will also come go through this fourth verse. I don't know, maybe today or next week, but this is also in sync with um, this pastime that Lord Shiva is narrating to Parvati. So let us now begin our recitation. We are fortunate to have Varsan Lila Mataji today. Mm. So maybe you can start reading.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Shall I read?
Yes, please.
Arjuna Uvacha Ye Shastra Vidhim Utsarjya Yajante Shraddhaya Tesham Nishta Tuka Krishna Sattvam Aho Rajastama. Translation. Prabhuji, can you just scroll the screen? Thank you. Arjuna inquired, O Krishna, what is the situation of those who do not follow the principle of scripture but worship according to their own imagination? Are they in goodness, in passion, or in ignorance? Purport. In the fourth chapter, 39 verse, it is said that a person faithful to a particular type of worship gradually becomes elevated to the stage of knowledge and attains the highest perfectional stage of peace and prosperity. In the 16th chapter, it is concluded that one who does not follow the principle laid down in scripture is called an asura, demon, and one who follows the scriptural injunction faithfully is called a deva or a demigod. Now, if one with faith follows some rules which are not mentioned in the scriptural injunction, what is his position? This doubt of Arjuna is to be cleared by Krishna. Are those who create some sort of God by selecting a human being and placing their faith in him, worshipping in goodness, passion, or ignorance, do such person attains the perfectional stage of life? Is it possible for them to be situated in real knowledge and elevate themselves to be the highest perfectional stage? Do those who do not follow the rules and regulations of scriptures but who have faith in something and worship God and demigods and men attain success in their effort? Arjuna is putting these questions to Krishna. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Varsan Lila Mataji. Yeah, so Arjuna is asking this question after Krishna has explained the 16th chapter, which is about the nature of divine and demonic. Hmm? So here is saying, Ye Shastra Vidhim Usraja means one who is not following any Shastras. Hmm. Those who give up. Yajante Shraddhayanvita Tesham Nishtatu Ka Krishna Sattvam Aho Raja Tama. Where are they following? In which group do they follow? Hmm? What is the situation of those who do not follow the principles of scripture but who worship according to their own imagination? Are they in goodness, in passion, or in ignorance? This is a very important question. Why? Because we come across people who always say, hey, forget about all this religious and spiritual and all these things. We should be very, what do you call, humanitarian. Huh? And we should do that. We should do this. For that matter, I do this. I do. If they are not following the scriptural injunctions, but they are on their own, what happens? Hmm? And in the purport, so basically, yeah, after that, here comes this question: what is the category that the people who are according to their thinking will fall, whether they are in uh, sattva guna, rajo guna, tamo guna? Hmm. Because uh, sattva guna is okay, people who are in divinic in nature, or who have um, an understanding, but If it is through whimsical thoughts, can they still fall into these things? In the purport, Prabhupada is saying in the fourth chapter, 39th verse, it is said that a person faithful to a particular type of worship gradually becomes elevated to the stage of knowledge and attains the highest perfection, right? In the 16th chapter, it is concluded that one who does not follow the principles laid on in the scriptures is a demon. So that's why Arjuna has this doubt. Now, if one with faith follows some rules which are not mentioned in the scriptures, what is the position? Don't we have such a question? Because is devotion kind of all freestyle way of living? In 4.39, there is this verse which is saying that, yeah, based on one's particular faith, accordingly, the Lord is blessing. Hmm. So he gradually becomes elevated to that stage of knowledge. He attains perfectional stage of peace and uh, prosperity. And then one who does not follow these things, in the 16th chapter, one who doesn't follow these principles which are said, then he is a demon. And one who follows the instructions or scriptures are called demigods. Now, this category is special category. Can you please help us to understand with? So, there is this intermediate category that Arjuna is bringing up. So, um, there is a saying, na, gada na ghar ka na ghat ka. There is a thing that, okay, sometimes someone may be in middle of. Um, so he's asking if one with faith, he has a very important element, faith, follows rules not mentioned in the scriptures, condition B. What is his position? This is what we want. As are those who create some God by selecting a human being and placing their faith in him, worshipping in goodness or passion or ignorance. Do such people attain the perfectional stage of life? Is that also possible that that third group also can attain perfection? Do those who do not follow the rules of scriptures but have faith in something and worship gods and demigods and men attain success in their effort? Anyone interested with this question? Huh? Where do I see?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Huh? This is very interesting, isn't it? Because always there is people who want to minimize or minute the greatness of the scriptures or the injunctions of the scriptures to follow because of one's own laziness or one's own um, what do you call that? Um,
Sometimes lack,
Self-interest. Yeah. Hmm?
sometimes lack of knowledge also.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Vedic knowledge, lack of Vedic knowledge, but some other knowledge we think, and then we say, hey, when we see the things through this light, we don't have to. People will come up saying, hey, if you serve mankind, after all, mankind's service is more important because it's so painful to leave them like that. Let me serve. Yeah, and in this way, we'll go through those things later. But at least this is a very important question for us of out of many questions we'll have.
Prabhuji,
So,
I have one question.
mhm.
If you can
Fourth
answer.
category or
Yeah, like sometimes, like devotees like me who
mhm,
don't know how to serve God very nicely, like Tulsi Puja in the morning. But
mhm,
if you are doing japa, chanting,
mhm.
reading, so uh, it is it acceptable or
Because of those things, you're imbibing devotional qualities, and because you imbibe devotional qualities, your service will be devotional service. So one need not do all the limbs of devotional service, yeah, like Shravanam. Oh, some may not be able to good with kirtans. Some may not be good at hearing. Some may not be good about remembering. So there are so many. I mean, these one should take what is easy to start and that he can go dive deeper and practice them. But of course, it doesn't mean that, okay, There is this Nitya Kriya, what is the daily duties? Maybe, yeah, maybe at least whatever we can, it's not, it is impossible, but if whatever we can do, we should also include them so that we can also, it's not like again, we may create our own freestyle, we can do it, but definitely it should be that if something that is from Nitya Kriya that can be added, so we should do that.
Okay, thank you, Guruji.
Mhm. Who would like to read this verse? Some 17:2 to 17:7. We'll talk about all this classification, faith, etc. Mm.
May
Yeah,
I, Prabhuji?
yeah, Makarand Prabhu or no, Pratik. Who was that?
Dinanath Prabhu.
Yeah, I don't recognize you. Sorry. No, no. Yeah, please. Mm.
Yes, Prabhu. श्रीभगवानुवाच त्रिविधा भवति श्रद्धा देहिनां सा स्वभावजा सात्विकी राजसी चैव तमाशि चेति तां शृणु. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, according to the modes of nature acquired by the embodied soul, one's faith can be of three kinds: in goodness, in passion, or in ignorance. Now, hear about this purport. Those who know the rules and regulations of the scriptures, but out of laziness or indolence, gave up following these rules and regulations, are governed by the modes of material nature. According to their previous activities in the mode of goodness, passion, or ignorance, they acquire a nature which is of specific quality. The association of the living entity with the different modes of nature has been going on perpetually. Since the living entity is in contact with material nature, he acquires different types of mentality according to his association with the material modes. But this nature can be changed if one associates with a bona fide spiritual master and abides by his rules and scriptures. Gradually, one can change his position from ignorance to goodness or from passion to goodness. The conclusion is that blind faith in a particular mode of nature cannot help a person become elevated to the perfectional stage. One has to consider things carefully with intelligence in the association of a bona fide spiritual master. Thus, one can change his position to a higher mode of nature. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yep, thank you. So here is saying what happens is that one is not taking the support of regulated life, what is based on the scriptures, but he is just under the influence of three modes. Yeah, because it is something like um, let's imagine that if someone is doing a scuba dive into water, what is needed, Dinath Prabhu? I don't know if you have done or you have seen. A scuba diver needs a jacket or vest, and he also needs oxygen cylinder, right? Which means he is entering into the world of water where, yeah, he would struggle to get his oxygen. So he has a special arrangement. So when we are coming to this world, our protection is actually following the scriptures. When we follow the scriptures, then what happens is then we are safe. Otherwise, what happens is, no, 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 I don't care. If one jumps into the water, it's very dangerous. Why? Because the influence of water it has we subdue get subdued to the influence of water. Similarly, when we come to this world, the world is filled with what? It is filled with Trividha. Lord Krishna is saying, Trividha bhavati shraddha. Faith are of three types. Dehina swabhavaja. Ja means birth. It takes birth from the nature of the bodily conception. Here he says, according to the modes of nature acquired by the embodied soul, which is the body, Dehina. Dehina. Wait a second. Did I miss? It's not deha, it is dehina, the embodied, the one who is actually conditioned by the body. Sorry. One's faith can be of three kinds: in goodness, in passion, or in ignorance. So basically, what happens is if you have exposed yourself to the three modes of material nature, your faith is also exposed. So the faith is now getting influenced by the three modes of nature where we are living. So, and Krishna is saying that what is the nature is all about. He's saying those who know the rules and regulations of scriptures, but out of laziness or indolence, give up following these rules and regulations, they come into this third category. They know rules and regulations, but just knowing doesn't help them. Um, Rules and regulations are to be followed. Following these rules are um, give up following these rules are governed by the modes of nature. So these three modes of nature is going to take over. Why? Because it is a system. Who is maintaining it? It is Mother Durga, Goddess Durga, who is the one who is also known as Mahamaya. So the influence of the three modes is actually the influence of Mahamaya, and one gets bewildered by this energy, and yeah, he is put into situations so that he can realize that yes, ultimately we are part and parcel servants of the Lord. So until that one comes, she is providing energy so that we can be influenced by that energy. How to change such influences is mentioned here. That is nice. By the help of bona fide spiritual master, and if one abides by the rules and regulations. By abiding rules and regulations, what does that mean? He is considering things carefully, with intelligence, with the support of association and bona fide spiritual master is what is recommended. Otherwise, blind faith in any in a particular mode of nature cannot help to elevate one to the perfectional stage. So this faith is categorized into three. Lord Krishna is saying that it is sattva, raja, and tamasa. So, and one who takes scriptures casually, one who is lazy, even after understanding the value of following the rules and regulations, but doesn't want to do it, so they are affected badly by these energies. Sometimes they are dominated by goodness, and they seem to look just like devotees. Who is that? Deepali Mataji? Huh? They seem to look like devotees. Yeah, come on. But when you talk about any godly topics, they say, no, no, no. Yeah, they immediately bring the social welfare, or all kind of different things. Huh? So they seem to having this mode of goodness through which they can think good, but they are not using that goodness to actually attain the ultimate goal of life, to take shelter of the Lord. Yeah. So Krishna is going to tell each uh, of this in next four verses. If someone is there who would like to read, I'll share the screen.
Maya Prabhuji.
Yes.
सत्त्वानुरूप सर्वस्य श्रद्धा भवति भारत श्रद्धामयोऽयं पुरुषो ययात् श्रद्धरः स एव स. O son of Bharata, according to one's existence under the various modes of nature, one evolves a particular kind of faith. The living being is said to be of particular faith according to the modes he has acquired. Everyone has a particular type of faith, regardless of what he is. But his faith is considered good, passionate, or ignorant, according to the nature he has acquired. Thus, according to his particular type of faith, one associates with certain persons. Now, the real fact is that every living being, as he stated in the 15th chapter, is originally a fragmental part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, one is originally transcendental to all the modes of material nature. But when one forgets his relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead and comes into contact with the material nature in conditional life, he generates his own position by association with the different varieties of material nature. The resultant artificial faith and existence are only material. although one may be conducted by some impression or some conception of life, originally he is nirguna or transcendental. Therefore, one has to become cleansed of the material contamination that he has acquired. In order to regain his relationship with the Supreme Lord, that is the only path back without fear. Krishna consciousness. If one is situated in Krishna consciousness, then the path is guaranteed for his elevation of the perfectional stage. If one does not take the path of self realization, then he is surely to be conducted by the influence of the mode of nature. The word Shraddha or faith is very significant in this verse. Shraddha or faith originally comes out of the mode of goodness. One's faith may be in a demigod or some created god or some mental concussion. One's strong faith is supposed to be productive of works of material goodness. But in material conditional life, no works are completely purified. They are mixed. They are not in pure goodness. Pure goodness is transcendental. In purified goodness, one can understand the real nature of Supreme Personality of God said, as long as one's faith is completely in purified goodness. The faith is subject to contamination by any of the modes of material nature. The contaminated modes of material nature expand to the heart. Therefore, according to the position of the heart in contact with the particular modes of material nature, one's faith is established. It should be understood that if one's heart is in the mode of goodness, his faith is also in the mode of goodness. If his heart is in the mode of passion, his faith is also in the mode of passion. And if his heart is in the mode of darkness, illusion, his faith is also then contaminated. Thus, we find different types of faith in this world, and there are different types of religions due to different types of faith. The real principle of religious faith is situated in the mode of pure goodness, but because the heart is ti- uh, tinted, we find different types of religious principles. Thus, according to different types of faith, there are different kinds of worship. Hare Krishna.
Somehow, thank you very much, Sinamata. Somehow I couldn't follow your purport as it is, so but I could hear. Yeah, thanks for reading. Yeah, here we are talking about Sattvanurupa Sarvasya, Shraddha Bhavati Bharata, Shraddhamaya Yam Purusho, Yo Yach Shraddha Sa Eva Saha. So we are talking about the faith. According to one's existence under various modes of nature, one evolves a particular kind of faith. The living being is said to be of particular faith according to the modes he has acquired. So the faith is sometimes we come across now, is it belief or is it faith or belief? What is the difference and etc. Here we can see that the point here is that this faith is affected by the modes of nature. So sometimes who is a very great devotee, though he has developed such a great faith, but what may happen is because of bad association, that faith can get weak or even disappear. Uh, so everyone has a particular type of faith, regardless what he is. Some, but his faith is considered good, passionate, or ignorant according to the nature he has acquired. So that is the basis. So first, irrespective of that, there is a Vedic spiritual scriptural injunctions or not, but as soon as someone is born, he is having faith. He has this faith, and this faith is of three kinds and predominated by whichever he will act like that. Now, the real fact is that every being, as stated in 15th chapter, is originally a fragmental part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. So, the living beings, we are not independent, we are part and parcel of the. Therefore, one is originally transcendental. This is very important point. Initially, before, yeah, so we are originally not at all under the influence of nature. But when one forgets his relationship and comes in contact with matter, uh, he generates his own. position by association with the different varieties of material nature. So that is the challenge here. What happens is that because we don't know this science, because we think spirituality is only faith, it's only belief, or it's only, whoever has written whatever, what is the proof for it. So if someone logically thinks it is fact, it is fact. If it's someone logically thinks it's not a fact, it's also not a fact. So that is the understanding. No, here through the scriptures we can understand that association according to the modes. According to a particular type of faith, one associates with certain persons. Yeah, this is very natural. If someone wants to smoke, then he will find a smoking partner. If someone want to earn money, then he looks for a business partner. So in that way, he is looking for association so that he can be there. But ideally, we are part and parcel of the Lord, which means we are also all transcendental. But what happened is because we have forgotten our relationship with the Lord, and we preferred a different way to enjoy. That's why the different ways provided through the material energy in this material world, and that is the cause. What happens because of that forgetfulness of the Lord, and thus entangled by different modes, he generates his own position. That's why some people say, I am Lord, I am God, I am that, I am this. Why? Because he is falsely identifying and he is creating uh, what is this kind of different upadhis, and thinking himself is special, which is not the case. Only path back to original position without fear is Krishna consciousness. This is what we see here. Although one may be conducted by some impression or some conception of life, originally he is nirguna, transcendental. This is clear. He is nirgun. One has to become cleansed of the material contamination that he has acquired in order to regain his relation. So he has to again remove all the durgunas that are there so that he can become a nirgun, or he could appreciate his own identify his own self, which is nirguna, pure, transcendental, and that way he is guaranteed. If one does not take to this path, one surely comes under the modes of nature. And here the word shraddha is mentioned here. Originally comes from mode of goodness. What is that? Strong faith is a product of works of material goodness. This is very important. Otherwise, we cannot appreciate the. Am I? Okay. So the originally, this is very important. Shraddha. Uh, there is of course Komala Shraddha, there is Tivra Shraddha, and there are different grades of Shraddha. But Shraddha, what it is actually uh, a quality of people who are in the mode of goodness, who have strong faith, is a product of works of material goodness. One's faith may be in a demigod, or some created god, or some mental concoction. No works are completely purified in the material conditional life. It is that though we may have this interest of doing a great thing, but because we are under the influence of those energies, the influence of the energy, it is just like when two people are fighting. uh, when two people are fighting, what is happening? You may find it like now you have more power, and now you are thinking that yes, now I can let it loose, and that's enough. Just like if someone is charming a snake, and then uh, there is no moment of negligence. If there is any moment of negligence, the snake will immediately take the time and then hiss. No more hissing, it only just bites. So this is also like that, that one who is in the material modes of nature, he is always still in the condition. Either he may stay there, he may go down, he may, yeah, because of the influences. But if one is following regulated life, then no problem. Pure goodness means what? We are not talking about normal goodness. Normal goodness, after all, when you see people living in a civilized society, in a gated community, in a secured way, and all these things, what is he doing? Of course, maybe there is some goodness. Of course, not everyone is still. There are people who are passionate that they want to take protection, blah blah. But we can see that people who are thinking, who are thinking, then they are coming in the mode of goodness and want to do good for the world or colony or community or whatever. But that is only for a moment, until he is disappointed. As soon as he is ill treated, or as soon as he feels ill treated, which means the modes of nature and the time, inevitable time, all these things are still working on the conditioned person. So one should come out of that and one should establish himself in pure goodness. When goodness is contaminated and heart is tainted, then what happens? According to different modes, the results in different types of worship and principles, all this starts happening. The basis of different religious principles, everyone is creating his own religious principle. That's why we can also see sometimes why a person is a priest, a pujari, but he might say, no, no, let's worship this way. Our temple should be like this. Our temple should be like this. Let's put, an orange turban, or let's put something else. Sometimes it's dominated not by pure goodness, but yeah, other influences. The real principles of religious faith is situated in the mode of pure goodness. So until one is practicing bhakti, Kevala bhakti, or at least is eagerly working towards Kevala bhakti, then we are always exposed to the influences of goodness, passion, and ignorance, and different types of faith lead to different types of worship. This is what we see. There are, in the next verse, we will read what are these different kinds of worships, and very interesting, very important also, so that we know what are we doing and what is supposed to be done, etc. Okay, let's see if we can cover few verses. Someone would like to read this? Let's cover the Lindo. Suryatej Prabhu or Saundarya Mataji, one of you.
Yes, Prabhuji, may I read?
Mm-hmm.
यजन्ते सात्विका देवान् यक्षरक्षांसि राजसां प्रेतान् भूतगणांश्चान्ये यजन्ते तामसां जनाः. Translation: Men in mode of goodness worship the demigods. Those in the mode of passion worship the demons, and those in mode of ignorance worship ghosts and spirits. Purport: In this verse, the Supreme Personality of Godhead describes different kinds of worshippers according to their external activities. According to scriptural injunction, only the Supreme Personality of Godhead is worshipable, but those who are not very conversant with or faithful to the scriptural injunctions worship different objects according to their specific situations in the modes of material nature. Those who are situated in goodness generally worship the demigods. The demigods include Brahma, Shiva, and others such as Indra, Chandra, and the sun god. There are various demigods. Those in goodness worship a particular demigod for a particular purpose. Similarly, those who are in the mode of passion worship the demons. We recall that during the Second World War, a man in Calcutta worshipped Hitler because, thanks to that war, he had amassed a large amount of wealth by dealing in the black market. Similarly, those in the modes of passion and ignorance generally select a powerful man to be God. They think that anyone can be worshipped as God and that the same results will be obtained. Now, it is clearly described here that those who are in the mode of passion worship and create such gods, and those who are in mode of ignorance, in darkness, worship dead spirits. Sometimes people worship at the tomb of some dead man. Sexual service is also considered to be in the mode of darkness. Similarly, in the remote villages in India, there are worshippers of ghosts. We have seen that in India, the lower class people sometimes go to the forest, and if they have knowledge that a ghost lives in the tree, they worship that tree and offer sacrifices. These different kinds of worship are not actually God worship. God worship is for persons who are transcendently situated in the pure goodness. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 4.2.3, it is said, Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Sabditam. When a man is situated in pure goodness, he worships Vasudeva. The purport is that those who are completely purified of material modes of nature and who are in transcendentally situated can worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The impersonalists are supposed to be situated in the mode of goodness, and they worship five kinds of demigods. They worship the impersonal Vishnu form in the material world, which is known as philosophized Vishnu. Vishnu is the expansion of Supreme Personality of Godhead, but the impersonalists, because they do not ultimately believe in Supreme Personality of Godhead, imagine that the Vishnu form is just another aspect of impersonal Brahman. Similarly, they imagine that Lord Brahma is impersonal form in the material mode of passion. Thus, they sometimes describe five kinds of gods that are worshipable, but because they think that the actual truth is impersonal Brahman, they dispose of all worshipable objects at the ultimate end. In conclusion, different qualities of the material modes of nature can be purified through association with persons who are of transcendental nature. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. We can't hear.
Prabhuji, I cannot hear you. You are muted, Prabhuji.
Okay, now I'm back.
Yes,
Okay.
no, yeah.
So yajante, yajante means worshipping. Yajante satvika devan. Who is worshipping whom? Is mentioned in yaksha rakshamsi rajarsha. Rajasa means one who is in passion. He is worshipping. Who is that? The mode of passion. In the mode of passion, worship the demon, and yeah, and the one who is in the mode of ignorance, they are worshipping the ghosts and spirits. Here there are some references which Prabhupada gives us to understand that worships are done in different sizes, in different flavors, and what can be the result we'll discuss later. But at least how the faith is filled with, and why there are so many, why there are so many faiths, why there are so many what do you call differences in such worships, and what can happen for what. Yeah, so um, in this particular verse, first of all, the scriptures are saying the Lord is to be worshipped. That is what is bhakti, and for that reference, there is this. Lord Shiva says to Sati in the Srimad Bhagavatam, this 4:3:23, Sattvam Vishuddha Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Sabditam Yad Ihate Tatra Puman Apavrita Satve cha tasmin Bhagavan Vasudevo hi adokshajo me namasa vidhiyate. Um, Lord Shiva is saying to Sati Devi, is saying, I am always engaged in worshipping, offering obeisances to Lord Vasudeva in pure Krishna consciousness. So, Krishna consciousness is always pure consciousness, in which this is still part of the translation, in which the Supreme Person of Godhead, known as Vasudeva, is revealed without any covering. Uh, and in the purport, Prabhupada mentions that the living entity is constitutionally pure. Asango hi ayam purusha. So, constitutional position of all of us is pure goodness. When we are not in sangha, when we are not in association of the modes of nature. In the Vedic literature, it is said that the soul is always pure and uncontaminated by material attachment. The identification of body with the soul is due to misunderstanding. As soon as one is fully Krishna conscious, it is to be understood that one is in his pure original constitutional position. And this pure original constitutional position is called Suddha Sattva. Shuddha Sattva, which means that it is transcendental to material qualities. Since this Shuddha Sattva existence is under the direct action of the internal potency, in this state, the activities of material consciousness stop. How can we protect ours? Yeah, this is from the purport, but I'm just elaborating. How can we be free from the material conditioning, or how can we stop all our material activities? Though we are living, we cannot choose that this moment I want to die, and it doesn't happen. Uh, we are going to live as long as we have life. But how can we make sure that our material activities are stopped is when we are in connect with Shuddha Sattva. For, in that Bhagavatam verse example is given. For example, when iron is put into a fire, it becomes warm, and when red hot, although it is iron, it acts like fire. Similarly, when copper is surcharged with electricity, its action as copper stops, it acts as electricity. So, in that way, it is said that therefore Shuddha Sattva, as described in that Bhagavatam verse, is the transcendental position which is technically called Vasudeva. Uh, Vasudeva is actually a quality. It is actually a quality. What is Vasudeva is also the name of the person from whom Krishna appears. This verse explains that the pure state is called Vasudeva because in that state, Vasudeva, the Supreme Lord, is revealed without any covering. So when we ourselves are in Vasudeva consciousness, then we can have the darshan of Vasudeva. To execute unadulterated devotional service, therefore one must follow the rules and regulations of the devotional service without desire to gain material profit. This is the basis through which we can overcome, we can actually establish ourselves in the right path. What is that? We may think, no, I am not having qualities. We may think that I am not having right circumstances. I may say that, no, I am born in so and so, and because I have no facilities, no, no provision for all these things, oh, I am, no. Here it is said one can be, uh, one must follow the rules and regulations as per the scriptures so that one can come to this state. It is not about if someone is a Vaishya or a Shudra or a Brahmana or a Kshatriya, doesn't matter, and in which social order one is there, doesn't matter. As soon as when he understands the scriptures and is following those scriptures because of whatever conditioning he is in, he can always become, he can stop his material activities. Why? Because he is practicing akarma. He is no more doing karma for his own benefit. It is said, one must follow the rules and regulations of devotional service without desire to gain material profit by fruitive activities or mental speculation. I mean, of course, that 4323, please make a note, and if you can later read, because the purport has more, yeah, about it. I'll just quickly go through. In pure devotional service, one simply serves the Supreme Lord as a matter of duty without reason and without being impeded by material condition. So his only thought is how best I can serve the Lord so that he is pleased. Not that how best I can serve the Lord and I am pleased. Huh? That is called Shuddha Sattva or Vasudeva, because in that stage, the Supreme Person, Krishna, is revealed in the heart of the devotee. Srila Jiva Goswami has very nicely described this Vasudeva or Shuddha Sattva in Bhagavad Sandarbha. He explains that Ashtotara Shata, 108, is added to the name of the spiritual master to indicate one who is situated in Shuddha Sattva or in the transcendental state of Vasudeva. The word Vasudeva is also used for other purposes. For example, Vasudeva also means one who is everywhere and or all pervading. The sun is also called Vasudeva Shabditam. Yeah. Did we come across this word? Yeah. The word Vasudeva may be utilized for different purposes, but whatever purpose we adopt, Vasudeva means, not Vasudeva, Vasudeva means all pervading or localized supreme personality of Godhead. Yeah, that gives more about further attributes which are mentioned in that verse, but we go back to our our verse 1704, 17.4. Here is mentioned that those who are situated in goodness generally worship the demigods. The demigods include Brahma, Shiva, and others such as Indra, Chandra, and Sun God. There are various demigods. Those in goodness worship a particular demigod for a particular purpose. Similarly, those who are in the mode of passion, we can see worship the demons. Uh, so that, yeah, we recall that during this example given here, Second World War, a man in Calcutta worshipped Hitler. In Calcutta. So, wherever If our business goes flourishing, then we attribute all greatness to that person. In fact, Hitler, he became, because thanks to that war, he had amassed a large amount of wealth. uh, I remember this. Maybe I should also when COVID was there, when everyone were crying, oh, so many lives, and oh, what a bad year, what a bad time. I was thankful to the situation, so that we all could hear Bhagavatam. Yeah, we all could hear Bhagavad Gita. We all could spend time on a more better note. Um, but yeah, similarly, those in the mode of passion and ignorance generally select a powerful man to be God, and they say, "Hey, you be in the front. We will support you. We will challenge the whole mechanism of how people are believing in God." There are so many people who want to erase the name of God. They want to inject their own name, fame. There are so many kings. When they get into power, they did it. There are so many aristocratic. There are so many what do you call this, communistic ideologies. Though they say no God, but they are worshipped like God. And so many such things happen. Similar, those in the mode of passion and ignorance generally select a powerful man to be God. They think that anyone can be worshipped as God, and that such same results will be obtained. Now it is clearly described here that those who are in the mode of passion worship and create such gods, and those who are in the mode of ignorance in darkness worship dead spirits. Yeah, and it's not only India. We also see in Italy or in other places. We see, hey, as soon as there is some miracle that is happening, oh, we see, oh, this is all tantric. Yeah, I don't know if you may have seen some any desi horror movies you may have come across. Yeah, these days they are also advanced, that they have no more discrimination of only Indian tantrics. Yeah, they also invite from all over the world whoever. So all these are happening. Why? Because there are people who are worshipping, yeah, in different places, different thoughts. Similarly, in remote villages in India, there are worshippers of ghosts. We have seen that in India, the lower class people sometimes go to the forest, and if they have knowledge that a ghost lives in a tree, they worship that tree and offer respects. Of course, there they see these spirits, yeah, to please them, either give us some special power or just get rid of, so that we are free from your worries. So these different kinds of worships are not actually God worship. God worship is for persons who are transcendentally situated in pure goodness. And we have went through this 4.3.23, that is to mention the purport is that those who are completely purified of the material modes of nature and who are transcendentally situated can worship the Supreme Lord. Then what about impersonalists? The impersonalists are sometimes to be situated in the mode of goodness, and they worship five kinds of demigods. The worship of the impersonal Vishnu from form in the material world, which is known as philosophied Vishnu. Vishnu is expansion of the Supreme Lord, but the impersonalist, because they do not ultimately believe in the Supreme Lord, imagine that the Vishnu form is just another aspect of impersonal Brahman. That they worship in that way. Similarly, they imagine that Lord Brahma is the impersonal form of material mode of passion. Thus, they sometimes describe five kinds of gods that are worshipable, but because they think that the actual truth is impersonal Brahman, they dispose all the. Anyway, this paragraph is actually telling that uh, there was another verse, now, in this reference. Maybe I missed it somewhere. Okay. Coming back. So here the point is that when we are talking about impersonal, there is also people who say, hey, why we should worship the Lord in the deity form, who is in the who is made of panchaloha or from wood or from stone. After all, is it only imagination? Is it only kind of man-made thing? Hmm? There is there is sufficient scriptural evidences that this is part of the agamas, yeah, which are saying how to worship the deity, Lord in the deity form. Because the Lord, out of His causeless mercy, He is providing us a provision so that we can worship Him. in this form. But then people you may have heard this Panchopasana. Panchopasana is worshipping of Durga Devi, worshipping. Let me start. I mean, of course, they don't directly say like that, but yeah, worshipping Durga, worshipping Ganesha, worshipping. Yeah, first it's sun, worship of sun, sun, Durga, Ganesh, Shiva, Vishnu, yeah, Panchopasana. So there are these five gods are worshipped, and in some people who are impersonalists, what they do is there are these five people, but we should not see them as gods, but we should see them as energies. There are special energies. If you want um, knowledge, then you can worship Ganesh. Oh, sorry, not knowledge. If you want all good fortune, no obstacles, worship Ganesh. So which means it's energy. So that's how they minute the actual personal form of the Lord, and they're just taking it as to be a kind of energy. So thus they sometimes describe five kinds of gods that are worshipable, but because they think that actual truth is Brahman, they dispose of all worshipable objects at the end, ultimate end. So they say, hey, why should we worship? Only we can appreciate the greatness of these energies. In conclusion, the different kinds of qualities of material modes of nature can be purified through association with persons who are of transcendental nature. So, how could one come to the Suddha Sattva stage is by associating with one who is in that state, uh, or associating with the scriptures which are giving us an understanding of that state, and by gradually seeing the examples like how Lord Shiva is explaining to Sati Devi what is that he is doing. He is saying. Hmm, yeah, he is saying that Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Shabditam. So he's saying that I always engage in offering obeisances to Lord Vasudeva in pure Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is always pure consciousness in which the Supreme Lord, known as Vasudeva, is revealed without any covering. And I think maybe in the purport of this verse, if I have come across, there is a very nice bum, bum, bum. I don't know, but I don't know. Why did I pick this up? No. Anyway. Okay, we pause here for questions. Has this been very long purport and covering? What is this actually telling? I am always in this particular verse 17 4 is men in the mode of goodness worship the demigods, those mode in passion worship demons, and in ignorance worship ghosts and spirits. So what do you say? Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, thanks for this. Uh, Purport, Prabhuji. I have one question on the final part, Prabhuji.
Mhm.
Impersonalists, worship Vishnu, but basically, I kind of understood what you meant with your explanation, because when Suritesh Prabhu was reading, I got confused. But I think your explanation makes sense. But I just want to, ensure that I understood correctly. So basically, Vishnu Tattva itself is more like personalization of worship of the Lord, right, Prabhuji? Because we have the Suprabhada to Ananta Seva to put the Lord to sleep, and the different bhavs that we have for worship of Vishnu is also not is personalized, right? Or I don't know if I understood it wrongly, Prabhuji. Yeah. Yeah.
Here, that's why it's mentioned that one who is from an impersonalist point of view, they also worship. Yeah, yeah. If, for example, some from um, Shaiva or Shankara followers, yeah, we can also see that they also have sometimes temples for Narsingha Dev. They also have temples for other, but they do not worship him as supreme. They worship him as another god. Yeah, if you see that you can also come across their what do you call this deity worships where they also install, but they do not see him as the supreme. So that is one way of understanding that that they do not see. And in Panchopasana, sometimes we may think, na, have you not come across this thought that every god is same? All all what do you call?
All rivers lead to the same sea.
Yeah, and also, what is that they're saying? What is that we say usually, na? All gods are same. There is nothing a hierarchy. For that, we use something. I forgot. That's why usually we see a temple where there is all deities, huh? No problem. There is one main Mula Virat, and then there are also other deities. Some have that, oh, for me, I don't. Uh, Only the size of the deity form makes a difference, so that if it is big, then he is big. Otherwise, all I go worship with same full faith and worship everyone. Hmm. So that is what we are saying in the worshipping in the mode of goodness, because we don't have clarity on what is the purest, and worship him directly without any other uh, uh, confusion, so to say. Yeah.
Yes, Guruji, thank you so much.
One pointed focus, that is not there. So this is what here we are seeing.
Yes, Guruji, very nice explanation. Thank you, Guruji.
Mm-hmm.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Mm-hmm.
But what we hear from the Shri Sampradaya, like they worship Vishnu as a personal
Yeah.
form, no?
Mm-hmm.
Not they are different, like impersonalist and what
Yeah,
Prabhuji
yeah.
asked.
As I said, so when we come about Sri Vaishnavism, we see that they are Vaishnavites who are worshipping him, worshipping the Lord in the because when uh, when Ramanujacharya, yeah, so he established the worship of Ranganathji. Mm. And yeah, who is none other than Lord Vishnu, and there are so many scriptures that on the basis of them he also have excavate not excavated, he has established matas and also had um, um, established temples, maybe I should say, or have excavated those places where there should be temples. So in that way, yeah, so he has, and definitely that means they are not like, okay, impersonal worshippers. Yeah, because they understand the Lord has a form, and all this whatever we are hearing, the um, Dvaita philosophy, not from not Advaita. They're based on Dvaita philosophy, and then there is also further Visishta Advaita, and so many other things through which it's already established that the Lord is not formless.
Yes,
Yeah,
Prabhuji. Yeah.
yeah. So the practitioners of, when you say Sri Vaishnavites, Sri Vaishnavism is already, they are coming to a refined understanding of the form of the Lord, rather just saying, okay, everything is energy. That the challenge is, um, when we talk about energies, it's not so easy to dis you know what is the energy, is this energy or that energy, because when energy is just like air, when you bring two aromas together, after the aromas mix, are we able to say this aroma is a vanilla, this aroma is a rose? No, right? So when we are at a more gross level of seeing the Lord, and that gross level of seeing the Lord is more through His energy, which we could perceive. So it's kind of we think, okay, I am also energy, you are also energy, all are energies. In the end, just imagine when you are flying high in the sky, and then when you're coming closer to the airport, when you're landing, and on a night, you will see a lot of lights below, right? In the end, first we'll see all these lights are one big uh, yeah, and then when you get come more down and down and down, you see every house has its own light. Yeah,
Yes, Prabhuji.
in the up we thought everything is one, huh? Yeah. So
Yes.
so in Vaishnavism, we see that it's not that. It is actually the Acharyas have established very clearly that the Lord is um, um, having a form. I mean, there are many principles established, statements established. One is this, other one is that we are all part and parcel of the Lord, means that we are Jivatmas, which means that we also exist, the Lord also exists. Our nature and Lord's nature are different, not, I mean, of course, qualitatively same, but quantitatively different, all these things.
Yes,
Yeah.
Prabhuji. And Prabhuji, one more question. I heard that in the, I think, third shlok, third verse, that the worship of the man-made god is and the worship of demigods is a mental concoction, or
Um,
is
so
the worship of demigods also, or only the man-made god worship is
man-made.
only? Okay.
Yeah. So people want their own comfort, no? That's why we create something. We are always is, yeah, just like a scientist is glorified. Have you seen Stephen Hawks, Hawkins? Stephen Hawkins, is it right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
They consider him as God. Huh? So we choose a candidate who is so powerful, so famous, and so many things he has done to the mankind, and we nominate him to be the God so that we can fight against the real God. I don't know. I mean, as a child, I remember seeing few movies where there is always a fight between good and bad. There is a leader who is they say, hey, even if you seen Bhagavatam, Kamsa is made the leader of all the uh, uh, demons at that time, huh? So that he'll challenge the whole god. Yeah, yeah, he said, don't worry, we are there. You just stand in front. The guy who was killed first was who? Hmm? Kamsa. All his friends were not killed yet, but it was that Krishna has killed Kamsa. So all these things is a matter of time, that the time will say what is the real substance in anyone speaking anything. Yeah, one can show so many things, yeah, facts and figures. You just go in internet, everyone has, I mean, so many have researched in every minute detail that we can't even imagine. Does these things exist? Hmm? It is something as good. Maybe it's too harsh on the scientists, but it is just like if a madman has a stone, yeah, we never know what can happen, right? Hmm? Similarly, if a scientist has what do you call funding, yeah, we never know what is his intentions, but yeah, he can come up with something. He can be harmful or he can be useful. We never know. As long as one is not devotional, all scientific advancement, yeah, all these things are quite dangerous. We don't know what is the intent of creation. We don't know what is the intent of usage and all these things. So some regulation definitely is needed. This regulation should not be man-made, because man-made regulations are more passion. Yeah, means Adirasa Prabhu, you live happily, I live happily, both of us can live happily. Let's do something like that. Hmm? Neutral. You don't bother me, I don't bother you.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah, thank
Yeah. Okay. We stop here. I mean, there are other verses, but we start next week with again. There's yeah, we cover about the faith of others and then move further. Yeah. Thank you very much for joining. Whoever is in the call and whoever is definitely around, please book your date for 8th and 9th of Feb, which is next Saturday, Sunday. We will, because 9th of Feb is Varaha Dwadasi, the appearance of Lord Varahadev. So 8th, we will be hosting an event. I think Shweta Mataji is here. Yeah, she um, can share more details if someone want, or Deepali Mataji, she can share, or I don't know. I mean, Adirasa Prabhu, you won't be there, na? So that's why I'm not uh, referring your name, but yeah, or any one of us, so that we share these details with all who are available. And we are doing this in a big hall. I don't know who remember this hall which we used for Sri Ram Navami in 2019. We are once again, yeah, renting that hall so that we can do in, yeah. Initially, I think Shweta Mataji very cordially invited to host at her place. We'll do that soon, but I was thinking, being if there are more to come, then why not? And if we can regularly do this, and yeah, the goal here mainly is that service, whatever capacity way we can do, we do that. And yeah, this we would like to then do regularly, seeing how it will be the first time after a long time in noise. And yeah, whoever is interested around who can support with services, let us know. And that would be a very nice event. We'll be yeah, coming back to the main thing is that Saturday and Sunday we will be discussing the glories of Varaha Dev, yeah, from Srimad Bhagavatam. And yeah, there is other Purana. If I can get hold and read through by then, I'll also cover that. Okay then, thank you so much. If there are no announcements, we can close. Are there any announcements? If no announcements, small request, let's strengthen our quality of chanting and yeah, improve. Yeah, for inspiration, yeah, there's enough outside, but yeah, if you want, you can have a book. Book is always safe, that you don't get distracted by so many things on internet. Rather, the systematic study can help. And if someone want, let us know. I mean, I can make a couple of pages, screenshots of them, and then share it if someone want.